Oh, there we go. Good morning. It's Thursday, and I invited my friend Kristie on. Kristie, what do you go by?
Kristie is great.
Kristie,
Everyone knows me.
Kristie Inman, and she and I were friends when I lived in Muncie, Indiana, years ago when Jan was going to school, and we were dating and then married. So she's still there, and I am in Sacramento, California. We stayed in touch, and I've been watching her journey over the last 2 years. How long has it been?
A year.
Where she's incorporated intermittent fasting into her lifestyle. And I've been interested in learning a lot about it. I obviously talk a lot about gut health and all of that. And all of them are linked because it's about the human body. And it's the most, like, we're learning, generally speaking, of the most plant-based natural ways to heal the body and how to make the body work optimally for itself and for you, not against you. And that's where inflammation and disease and all of that appears. So if you can tweak things in your body and in your nutrition and your health, like she's somebody I learned originally on was like grinding her own wheat and making really amazing foods and her own garden. Like, I'd love for you to chat about that too, but just understanding the depletion in our soils and in our nutrients and trying to get the best quality in our bodies, which then helps your body thrive in all the best ways. And so it's just so easy in our world to grab fast, easy everything. And then we wonder why we're struggling with all these health symptoms. So she's been very medicine, like a lot of medicines and doctors, and just not anti, but ideally the most natural way possible.
If we don't need it, we don't do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd love for you just to introduce yourself a little bit and then share kind of your experience with all of that.
Great. You're just beautiful, Julia. I admire you so much, and your children and your family. It's just great. And thank you. So I am a mother of 7 and a grandmother of 8.
Yay.
And so I have a wonderful life that way. In September of last year, my oldest son said that he'd been talking to my brother, which is really weird that my brother wouldn't just talk straight to me. And I noticed that Stephanie, his wife, was on our live thing, so maybe she can find out later when she watches this. But anyway, my son was talking to my brother about some things that my brother was doing, and he was just getting into such great health and losing weight, and so is my sister. So he said, "Have you ever heard of intermittent fasting?" And he asked me that, and I said no. And he said, "Well, your brother's doing it, and you guys have like the same body," which we really do. I have a guy's body. You have the same body. You should try it. If it works for him, it'll work for you probably. And I had been on this long, long journey of trying to lose weight. I mean, forever, for like 30 years.
Yeah.
My husband just walked through.
Did you figure anything out?
We're doing Zoom, so.
I was going to say you could use BeLive.
Well, we'll do it next time.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
All right. Good luck.
Anyway, I tried everything to lose weight, and just nothing would work, or nothing was permanent. So when he told me about the intermittent fasting, I'm like, well, I can go without food for, at the time it was like 16 hours, and then eat 8 hours. And so it's just starting to eat around 10 and stopping to eat around 4, I think is the math on that. And I lost 5 pounds the first week, and it was all water. But it was good because I needed that. I needed to have that motivation to keep going with it. And then I just have kept going. I did it without knowing anything about it, just that you're just eating and fasting. So I started researching it out a little bit and learning more what my body needs. And I just really haven't stopped it since then. I just love it. It's so doable.
Because you're not dieting, you're not holding out without, you're not saying, I can't have that. But I think when your body begins to heal with everything, you start paying attention to what your body needs as fuel.
Oh, definitely. And the thing is I go into like a 72-hour fast. And I don't know if you've seen the research on that. There's been a lot of Facebook news about it. But a 72-hour fast is that healing that you're talking about. It goes in and it grabs all those folded cells. Your body just makes a ton of cells, and some of them are folded. They're not quite right. And it'll go in and grab those folded cells because there's nothing else for it to eat. It's called, I'm going to say it wrong, autophagy or autophagy.
Yeah, that's what I've been learning about. Autophagy. Yeah, where it goes in and it literally reduces like disease in your body.
Yeah, it's amazing. Our bodies are
And that's a
so,
3-day fast, right? And so
yeah.
how often do you do that? That's
I
the
try
one
to
my
do that
friend
once a
did.
month.
Okay.
Once a month. Yeah.
Do you
I
have like
don't,
a set time, like the first 3 days of the month, or you just pick any 3 days?
so no, I figured out I cannot fast around the week before or the week during my period. Like
Gotcha.
there's just, don't even talk to me about fasting. Like I just do my minimal fast, which is an 18 or 20-hour fast at that time, but no long fasts because I just don't want to. I'm already grumpy enough. Menopause has not been nice to me. So anyway, that's, sorry for anybody out there who's
We talk about
not
poop
my,
all the time, whatever.
anyway, but yeah, that's that. And I love the fact that I can once a month just let my body go into full healing mode. And I feel like it's not just inner, but it's like my skin and my hair and, you know, everything.
So what do you consider fasting? Are you drinking broth?
Water.
Are you drinking water only, like lemon water? Can you talk about, my friend said you should to add like mineral or electrolytes if you feel dizzy, or like Himalayan salt to your water.
Yeah, that's important actually. The when you start this fast, the concept behind all of this is insulin. Insulin is like our big number one type of culprit that we're trying to, we need it in our bodies, but we don't need it like we're using it.
Right.
So that insulin is what, after 4 hours of having eaten, the insulin stops. And then your body can start finding other areas. So you have about 2 weeks when you start a fast, like just even the 16-8 or 18-4, whatever you decide to do, or 18-6. You have about 2 weeks where you have those headaches. You might get dizzy, you might get nauseous, and that's insulin. And it just takes 2 weeks, at the most 3, to get through that and for your body to stabilize that insulin and learn that you're going to keep it healthy and not to get upset. So Himalayan sea salt is my go-to. I will put a pebble or 2 in my mouth.
Okay. Oh,
Or,
alone, no water, just suck on it?
I'll just suck on it because then I have a crunch. So it
Okay.
feels like I'm eating and I have the flavor, and then I'll down, you know, I drink a ton of water with it.
Yeah.
But I have herbal tea. I'll have like mint tea. I just don't put any sweetener in it. Or I like a Cafix. It's kind of a barley drink, but I just don't put milk or sugar in it. Maybe a little stevia, but not very
Is it
much.
like Pero?
Yeah,
Okay.
Pero's awesome.
I know. I got 4 things of it last time I went to Utah because they didn't have it here.
Yeah. So that's yeah. So that's the
So,
important thing, is coming into it and realizing that your body does have some adjustment to do, and you know that, and from anything you do.
well, I think that's actually why I didn't fast before, was because I would feel like that. And I would say something's wrong with me, not my body's working through something, because I didn't understand. So I'd be like, I just can't fast because I get dizzy and I get nauseous and I get lightheaded. So I need to just keep eating.
Yeah.
Because I never let myself even attempt a period
Right.
to get through that.
And what I would suggest next time, if you try it again, is when you get to that point, because if you get nauseous or fainty, then you need to eat. That's just,
Okay.
you just need to eat. But try eating an avocado or a handful of almonds or cashews, something high in fat that will sustain you for a little bit, and that might get you through the hump. And those aren't necessarily big insulin spikers. So you can kind of get away with eating an avocado in the middle of a fast. They call it dirty fasting, but
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
you got to do what you got to do to keep healthy.
Another new thing I've learned about is MCT oil. Have you heard about that?
Huh.
It's derived from coconut, but it's another healthy fat. It comes in a liquid. So I will mix that, like instead of doing 2 scoops of my protein shake, now sometimes I'll just do 1 scoop almond milk and then a tablespoon of the MCT oil. And it helps when you're doing a low carb diet or something like that, because you're getting those healthy fats in a liquid form.
Right. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that you had mentioned, or all of the things that we've heard growing up, you know, like breakfast is the most important meal
Yeah.
of the
People
day.
talk about that all the time, and they're like, what happened to that? Like, what happened to jump starting your metabolism? And if you don't eat breakfast, everything slows down.
Yeah, we've been lied to. I mean, it's just the food industry trying to sell cereal. I mean, the person who said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day was Kellogg. He's the one that, he's one, from what I've seen now, I probably should research this more, but from what I've
That's
seen,
amazing.
he was trying to get people to, yeah, eat breakfast cereal. So, I think back to thousands of years ago, how our bodies were made to survive, and how we didn't have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It wasn't a possibility back then.
Yeah.
And our bodies are made so that when we do these long fasts, it's okay. That's the way our bodies were made to survive, because we didn't have even every day a big full meal of food.
Yep.
So our bodies had to learn how to use the food. And what's interesting is the energy that you get as you go through these fasts. It's like at the end of the 72-hour fast, you feel like you could run a marathon or something, because that's when your body needs the most energy, because way back then, that's when you have to go hunt your food or whatever. So it's almost, you eat the food you're so excited to eat after a 72-hour fast. I plan my meals like 24 hours in advance. I
You
know
have to
exactly.
like break it down, like how I did some cleanse, like a colon cleanse once, and they're like, the first thing you should eat should be an apple. Like, is there a way to get back into food, or you can just go?
There is a science to it, and I know there are people who follow that, and I don't. I will have an avocado just to start
For
and to
breakfast.
get my body going,
Oh no,
or
at your fasting time of like 10 or 11.
when I'm done, like
Okay.
when at the beginning of my feast.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
Okay.
as I'm feasting, I take my feasting very seriously, because I've waited a long time to eat. So by the time I'm done eating, I am so tired, because my body now, all the energy that I had going on is now focused on.
Processing your food.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So there's probably better ways to come off the fast than what I do.
Hence, like the way you feel after Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Like your
Because it's a
body
feast.
actually is working so hard to process that extreme amount of food.
Mhm.
That's why you're so tired, which doesn't make it like a healthy choice in that
Yeah,
sense.
it is. It's hard for me, because I only give myself a 2-hour window to eat. So I eat until I can no longer eat. Like, that's what I do, because I
Really?
know I have another 20 or 24 hours.
You
That's my
started
normal.
with like 6 hours, like 10 or 8 hours of eating, or 6 hours, and then you went to like 4 and then to 2 over the course of the year.
Yeah, because that's what I found worked for my body, and it's pretty much stable there. Like yesterday, I didn't fast because I had lunch with my son and some other things. So I'm not like it's in stone type thing
Flexible.
anymore. I have wiggle room, but um, the when I do eat, I still eat to. I'll eat 2 meals in one in that 2 hours, but I'm not worried about calories, because all I'm worried about is the insulin. The insulin's going to be spiked whether I have, a little bowl of soup or the whole pot of soup. It's going to be spiked for 4 hours either way. And that's the insulin is what is controlling for my body. That's what I need to control. So calories don't matter, which has been very
Yeah.
liberating, not having to worry about how many calories I'm eating, because that's stupid. If I'm going to have a feast, I want to enjoy it without
Well,
worrying
and it
about
affects
calories.
up here, I think, more than anything. This, like what you can, what you can't. It takes away from listening to your body and intuitive eating, and it just takes it to what you can and what you can't, and what you're supposed to and what you're not supposed to, and I deserve it, and a lot of the like emotional part of eating. And so that's what I think is amazing is to how can you work on healing your body, where you can listen to your body and what it needs, and when it operates best, recognize that, and then add more of that. Like you didn't start with 2 hours, or you'd be like, I can't even eat, you
Right.
start with something that is very doable, and it's like exercising. Once that becomes a habit, then it just shrinks, and it's not stressful because it has now become a way of life and part of your habit, which now allows your mind to expand into something else and not have your world revolve around which diet, which eating plan is best, like all of those things.
Yeah, I love it. I love I love this lifestyle because it's something that I can easily do for the rest of my life. It's not a big deal. And it saves us on groceries. I was amazed at how much it saved us on groceries. And Bill is hypoglycemic. And he, after about a month or two of me doing this, he thought he would try to do it. And hypoglycemia is when you're not supposed to go for more than like 2 hours without food. You know,
Right.
You've never been able to do a fast at all.
That's how I was.
Yeah. So he just started slowly, like every day, adding on 15 minutes. So it was like 6 hours, then 6.5 hours, you know, and now he's up to like 16 or 18 hour fast regularly. That's how he's living. And for someone who's hypoglycemic, that's amazing. He even was able to accomplish a 24-hour fast.
Wow.
So
It's kind of like training your hair to be like dirty, curly, good hair. Like you can't just have it. You have to train it. And then it will do what you need. And I think that's, you know, it's part of learning about bodies and health and how it works. And I just love that it's not a diet. I don't think diets are healthy mentally. I think it can be healthy physically for people that stick to healthier choices. But I think the mental part is what ruins it for everybody. And it just seems very exhausting and it's not sustainable. So looking for things that are simple and sustainable to incorporate into your life are what I think is the most helpful. Personally.
I was talking to a group of women the other day and someone was commenting on the intermittent fasting. I hadn't seen them for a year, so they hadn't seen me for a year. So I looked a lot different to them. And so this came up and there was a lady there who didn't know me or anything about this. And she goes, well, what's the deal about this fad, intermittent fasting? And inside I'm thinking, this has been around for thousands of years. People have fasted. Mm-hmm. So, you know, this is one of those things that I don't consider it a fad. I don't think it's going to go out of style. There's nothing that I can find negative about it, you know?
Well, and I love that religious wise, it's been kind of part of our religion in the sense of helping you have more emotional, like spiritual connection and control over your body and your desires and all of that, like as a practice of habit. And like you're saying, and then giving that food, like letting that food go somewhere else where it's needed. But the practice of that, and yeah, back in the scriptures, for years, people have fasted. And people like, I mean, if you think like cavemen, whatever, right? Like it was literally don't eat until you catch your food.
Exactly.
So, and if you don't get your food, you're still hungry. And then when you get it, you feast.
You do.
So we've all watched the cartoons.
And then you take a nap and then you go on with life.
And then you run to get your food. And that's like the big thing that we're missing too. We're not exercising to get it. We're not growing it ourselves. There's a depletion of nutrients because there's so much synthetic stuff and growth hormones and all of that added to make like the perfect apple, you know? Mm-hmm. And so it's shiny and beautiful in the perfect shape. And growing your own foods, like ideally, and killing your own cows and doing all of those things, grinding your own flours. Somebody said like the church in Salt Lake actually doesn't add anything artificial, like growth, anything to their fruits, vegetables, or their grains. And I think that's really amazing that it's the natural form of the grain. There's nothing synthetic added to it. And we've just gotten so used to it, but we've also watched everybody around us have their health failing immensely the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Almost everybody has some type of allergy, intolerance, disease, something. And we're not taking it seriously enough. And then we're not saying, okay, so maybe we are not the farmers and we can't change what's going on in the foods, but we can change something. So what things can we take to have our bodies live the healthiest, and what things can we tweak in our lives to still have the body that we want and that's not riddled with disease.
Yeah. Yep.
And to feel good. Good.
I'm a big yoga enthusiast, you know. I believe wholeheartedly in that. That's kind of my exercise, my form of exercise. I don't run unless I'm being chased, and then I probably still wouldn't run. I'd just sacrifice myself for whoever is putting the energy to running. I just don't like running. But I love yoga.
Meditation is huge. Meditation, all of that, like quieting. Mm-hmm. And listening to your voice.
And there's a lot of strength involved, you know, when you're in those planks and side planks and things. You're building, you're building muscle. You're really, so it's a nice weight bearing exercise that you don't have to be in the gym, to pump iron for. So I love them. But there's so many forms of exercise as long as you're doing something.
Yep.
Moving. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this.
You're welcome. And
We're
I don't know.
Do another one because I'm sure there's still so many more things you can teach me.
Well, I have 3 links that I wanted to share for anybody who has questions, and they're one is Dr. Fung, who I love. All of his information is online. It's free, or you can get it all in one place in a book. You can buy his book. The other one is Dr. Boz. She talks about the autophagy, or autophagy, whatever the heck it is. And then the third one is a link to a BYU speaker who talks about how our lifestyle is killing us.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So when we do the YouTube link, and we'll share that then in the comment section, I think we have to do the YouTube link. They say it's better in the comments. So we'll talk about it, put the link in the comments, and then I'll have you drop your links down below because I think that'd be really helpful. I'm sure people would love to learn more. And a lot of people have been like, whatever you learn, just tell me what you learn. So it's good to provide content for people to kind of do their own research. Yeah. Whatever you're doing, if you like it, just tell me and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times where it starts, you need to see the proof in other people and how simple it is and how non-stressful it is. Mm-hmm. And that you can start very slowly, like you're saying with Bill, like 15 minutes, like you can, very doable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
We'll talk soon. Bye.
Sure. Bye-bye.